Hello, after my last post on offenses in marriage, I received a lot of feedback about people asking on how they can manage offenses in their marriage. And one of the feedback that I received was the fact that a woman believes that her husband is a narcissist. Now, so what this video is about today is to educate some people of who a narcissist is and to even identify if your husband or your partner is if your husband or your partner is exhibiting a narcissist behavior. Now, I must warn that the fact that your spouse is behaving in a certain way doesn't automatically mean that they are narcissists. Now, narcissism is a mental health disorder that can be diagnosed. It's not something that starts in marriage. Most of the time, people who exhibit that kind of behavior are probably those who have some kind of childhood issues, and so they have this kind of childhood traumas. Maybe people who have been abused, people who were mistreated as children, and then they grew up, they want to take revenge on someone who gives them love. So it's not something that you were in a relationship, you were courting, and you saw that this person was really a nice person, and then you got married, and the switch overnight to be a narcissist. So it's not something that happened overnight. However, a narcissistic spouse is typically manipulative. You see why I say it's not something that begins overnight. It's manipulative, it's controlling, it's self-centered, it's difficult to please, it's very abusive, especially verbally, and emotionally. The spouse is aggressive. Now, these are behaviors that don't just come overnight. If you if you discover that your spouse exhibit this kind of behaviors often, it means that the spouse may need attention. But if it is something that is not of their behavior, like maybe they react to circumstances, then that may not be it. It's just, for instance, there are times where you have a headache or you have temperature, and it's not that you have malaria, you have fever, you need to see a doctor. The same way, some people can exhibit narcissistic signs, symptoms, and they are not narcissistic themselves. So that's how it happens in marriage. So some men, when they are going through financial stress, they could exhibit aggressive behavior, they could become withdrawn. But the minute that financial situation is solved, they become themselves. Now, you cannot classify that kind of spouse as a narcissistic. Now, there are also other women who, when they are going through a tough time, like maybe having children. Now, people who wait a long time for them to have children, they kind of have certain behavior that may resemble narcissism. For instance, because they don't have children, they may feel like, why am I like this? Why is life being unfair to me? How long am I going to wait? Especially if that woman has younger siblings who are not having difficulty having children. They are going to feel, I don't want to call it jealous, but they are going to be withdrawn. They are going to respond as a result of what they are going through. It could even affect their mental condition. Now, that's still not enough to call the person a narcissist. The person is just reacting based on situation. So before you think that your husband or your wife may be suffering from a mental health condition, I beg you to understand what the condition is before you tell your partner that. So when you are looking for solution, it's easy to get that solution. Now, one of the ways you know if your partner is a narcissist is that you don't connect to them. Narcissism makes someone places a high value on themselves. They are extreme. They think they are the best. They don't care about other people's emotion. They care about themselves. They don't care whether you are hurt or not. So because of that, it makes it difficult for their partner to connect to them. They also make you feel like you are the one who is at fault. They make you feel like they are good, they can never go wrong. And so when something happens, when you're expecting an apology from them, they're telling you, why should I apologize? Even when it's obvious that they are the one who is at fault, they are going to find a way to explain to you how you are at fault. because they always think that they are happy. Now, one interesting thing about a narcissistic behavior is the fact that they can bombard you with love. So when you start, they're going to be giving you gifts. They know how to give attention by giving time. They know how to stick around you. And so sometimes you can even misinterpret that behavior as stalking. Now, what they do is they make you fall in love with them. And so you're kind of roped in. So when this behavior starts, you get confused about what did I see? Why is this person behaving like this? Now, that's one tricky thing about love, especially if you are unmarried. It's good you find out if this person is making it up, if they are giving commitment based on their feelings, or if you really understand who they are. They can bomb love you, and you are in love, you don't want to go. A narcissistic spouse will not let go of grudges. When you offend them, even after you have said sorry, they're going to hold it against you. And that's not all. They're going to describe you by your mistake. The next time you make another mistake, they're going to remind you of the last one that you made before. Even after you have apologized, even if you call your village people, call your church people, they're going to hold on to it until they feel satisfied before they can, they don't even totally let it go. They will always feed on grudges. Now, they because they are manipulative. If you call a third person to reconcile that the misunderstanding, they are going to fault you. Not only fault you, they are going to present their case in such a way that they want that person to believe that they are the good one in it. It's something that is in their behavior. Then they are very controlling. They want you to live your life on their terms, regardless of how you feel, regardless of how that makes you. As long as it makes them happy, it makes them be in charge, it makes them who they are. They don't care. That's why a lot of people think, especially psychologists and counselors, think that it is a mental condition that is common with men. But I've seen in my experience that some women can also be narcissistic. Now they can isolate you. There are some people who are married, they live with a partner in their house, yet they are so lonely. I have also met women who are living with husbands and they're so lonely. They are constantly either on their laptop working with a friend. They're always doing something and neglecting their partner. And most of the time, they only come close to that partner when they're looking for sexual satisfaction. So they leave the partner lonely. They can isolate you and will give excuse of, I'm working. Don't you see I'm busy? I have something more important to do. They always justify their reason for leaving you. Now they also act like a child. They also make you seem like a child because they treat you like a child. Someone who is a narcissist always thinks that you don't know your left from your right. They don't trust your judgment. They don't trust your advice. And so a husband who has that kind of behavior will never take advice from his wife, will never think that anything good can come from his wife. In fact, they even trust other women outside and not their partner. That behavior is not something that starts overnight. If the person is a narcissist, then they can put you down regardless of who is there, whether you're outside, whether you're inside, of course, because they don't see anything good in their partner, so they can put you down. That is why, as a counselor, I encourage partners not to take verbal abuse for granted. Your husband or your wife cannot call you fool, you idiot, and you take it just for granted. Those are terms that comes from someone who feels like they are better. They're better than you. Now, there's several signs that would make you, that can help you identify narcissist behavior in marriage. And I encourage you to look closely. If you think that your partner is exhibiting such kind of signs, then you should see a professional counselor to deal with it. But if you think that this is just circumstance, that's not who my spouse is, then you want to look for a counselor also to talk over the issues with. But do not conclude your partner is something that they are not.